For some reason, it appears as if my videos are stopping me after 15 minutes of recording. So good news is this one will take less than 15 minutes. But sorry about all the abrupt stoppings. So when we left off in the last video, we were talking about how many 6 months are in 2 years. So there are 24 months in 2 years. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So you actually want to type in or plug in a 4 to figure out how many there will be after 2 years. And then going back to Desmos, let me delete some of these in here that I've got. So we've got 9,046 is how many we had to begin with. Our decaying rate ended up leaving us with 0.85 to the power of 4 because there are 4 sets of 6 months in 2 years. We were talking about foxes in this problem, so no decimals. So 4,722. 4,722 foxes. That's how many are left after 2 years, every 6 months of decay. All right, the last type of problem you might see in on IXL is dealing with what is called a half-life. Okay, so you have 2,336 grams of radioactive kind of mercury. How much will be left after 192 hours if its half-life is 64 hours? Okay, so short little lesson on what half-life is. Half-life means half. It means there will be half of it left after that certain amount of time. So if you're starting with 2,336 grams, half of it will be left after 64 hours. And then in another 64 hours, half of that will be left. And in another 64 hours, half of that will be left, and so on and so forth. But half-life occurs based on however much time it says right here, or wherever it is in your problem. So it says half-life is 64 hours. So our equation is going to start out similar. The nice thing with half-life is we always know that our rate is 0.5. So y equals a 1, we're going to minus the rate to the power of x. And we always know that rate is going to be 0.5 because it is half. And 1 minus 0.5 gives you 0.5. So we have y equals a is your starting, which is our 2,336. It's going to be 0.5 to the power of x. This is kind of like the last problem, except here we have the same units. We have hours. This is how much will be left after 192 hours. And this is hours, but the half-life occurs every 64 hours. So what you need to do is you need to take 192 divided by 64, and that tells you how many times this has occurred. 3 times. So 64 hours happens 3 times in 192 hours. So 3 is the number that you need to plug in for x to be able to answer this question. So you're going to do 2,336.5 to the power of 3. Go back to Desmos. 2,336 times 0.5 to the power of 3, which is 292 grams. So with half-life, it is always 0.5 in here, but the number you plug in for x, you will take how many you're looking for your answer, divided by how many hours or whatever it is, the number for your half-life. That's the number that you plug in. 192 divided by 64 gave you 3, and then you can do your answer.